Hello friends! You have a prototype that has been played by others, so you know it's good, and now you're ready to take the next step, building a vertical slice. We created a prototype to test out our 30 seconds of fun gameplay, so now we need to build a vertical slice to test out 30 minutes, a complete play session with all the bells and whistles. If a prototype is a proof of your concept, then a vertical slice is proof of the final product, without actually building all of it. Imagine your game is a layered cake, with each layer representing a different aspect of your game. The mechanics, level design, lighting, user experience, art, music, and sound assets, etc. Each slice of cake represents a single level of your game, maybe a story beat or a short play session, which contains a bit of every layer of the cake. Since making the entire cake takes a lot of time and effort, we can build a vertical slice by picking the best parts of each layer of the cake to assemble the smallest possible piece that looks the most delicious. Continuing the metaphor, the customers who will buy this cake are not necessarily players, but more likely either publishers or funding programs who will pay us to make the rest of the game. To maximize our potential for success in this regard, the vertical slice must hold nothing back, using as close to final production assets as we possibly can, and including spoilers if necessary. This is the main difference between a vertical slice and a demo, although in some cases they may overlap or even be the same thing. But you would never include spoilers in a demo, and likewise, you should never include unfinished content or lengthy tutorials in a vertical slice. Publishers and funding programs might be much less forgiving if they see something that is unfinished, or if they have to sit through lots of tutorials to see actual gameplay. You may want to produce a vertical slice targeted at players if you're crowdfunding your game, in which case your players are also your source of funding. This is one such instance where your demo might act as your vertical slice. The process of designing and building a demo as a vertical slice will remain mostly the same, except you'll need to include a little more tutorialization and no spoilers. Before we can design our vertical slice, we need to very roughly plan out the entire scope of our game. Don't worry about any of the details yet, we just want a general idea. How many characters will there be? What are their abilities? How many levels are there? How many enemies and bosses? Are there any other mechanics? Summarize the main story beats in bullet points. Which will be the most impactful scenes? How many music tracks will the game have? How many sound effects and voiceovers? How many sprites, models, and animations will the game need? Some of these may be things that are necessary, while others are nice to have and may be cut out, or contingent on receiving funding. My game will aim to have 7 characters, each with up to 7 unique abilities, plus 7 levels, each with 7 different enemy types and 7 bosses. I would also like to include a hub area with character dialogue between runs. My game won't have much in the way of plot development beyond environmental storytelling. Time has collapsed, and the last 30 minutes of existence are repeating, so the heroes fight over and over again to try to save everything. The most impactful scene will probably be the first time the player defeats the final boss. I'll need around 10 music tracks, up to 49 sound effects for the abilities, but I might reuse some of them to lower that number, plus 14 sounds for my characters, and at least 3 UI sounds. Voiceovers would be nice to include, but I doubt I'll have the budget to hire any actors, so I'll only include voiceovers in my game if I receive funding. If I don't receive funding, I'll instead have a different dialogue sound for each character. Our next task is to assemble the best possible slice of cake from these layers to showcase the best 30 minutes of gameplay we possibly can. So we will choose our most interesting levels, characters, and abilities to build first, along with our best music tracks and all the required sound effects necessary. This is a good opportunity to showcase your game's mechanical, narrative, and visual hooks too. Depending on your game design, you might only need to build a single level or a single character for your vertical slice. If your game has really epic spoiler scenes, you should definitely include one of those too to impress the publishers. Perhaps you have some aspect of your game which doesn't really overlap with the vertical slice you've chosen. like a really good music track that is meant to be played during a different part of the game. You can still include other assets you've made that you think will help sell your game even if they aren't included in the 30 minutes of gameplay. Either deliver them separately from the game or make them accessible from the title screen. Since my game's mechanical hook is that each character should feel different to play, I'll make 3 unique characters for my vertical slice, each with 3 or more unique abilities. I'll select what I think will be the coolest level of my game and the best music to go with it, plus all of the sound effects necessary for the characters and abilities I've chosen. The enemies don't really vary that much in these types of games, so I'll just make 3 enemies and 3 bosses. It's a good idea to start keeping track of your hours worked at this point if you aren't doing so already. Any time spent working on your prototype should be easy to include retroactively. Not only does this provide you with a log of your unpaid work hours that you'll need to include in your game's budget, but it will also help you plan the rest of your game's development time, especially if you break down how long it takes you to produce individual assets or chunks of content, including all of the time spent on ideation. If it takes you X number of hours to produce a sprite sheet for a single character, then you know approximately how long it will take you to produce sprite sheets for 10 characters. Now that we know what needs to be done, we'll get to work. If you like game development content for Godot, please consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.